The rumors of a new Nintendo Switch 2 started going around recently, with people now thinking that'll be announced this year. So I think doing a best Switch games list is perfect right now. Some may think otherwise, as Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out in like 3 months, but don't worry, I will make a new list in a year or two. And man, this list was hard to make, as I have played quite a bit of games on the Switch. Keep in mind, I haven't played any Splatoon game, Metroid Dread, or Kirby in the Forgotten Land, as I know some people were expecting to see those games on this list. Sorry, I just haven't made my way around to playing them, as I have been working on YouTube quite a bit right now. Also, Wii U ports will not be on this list, as they don't really count for Switch games, so don't expect Super Mario 3D World on this list. With all that out of the way, here's my list of the top 10 best Switch games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Nintendo has been quite slow with giving us new games lately that aren't just ports, and sadly, Mario Kart fell in that hole as well. So why is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on this list if I said no ports? Well, I think that Mario Kart 8 is allowed for this list, as there are new characters and vehicle customizations. With the new DLC waves coming in, it's basically turning into its own game. We are getting lots of new courses from the DLC, so I think it's fine on this list. And this game is very fun with a lot of friends to play with, especially on 200cc, as it gets pretty chaotic. There are so many fun courses to choose from, with quite a bit of characters too. There's even Link and Animal Crossing guy here as well, and they even have their own courses. This game is just perfect to play with other people, and if you don't really like racing, there's other game modes as well. There's a balloon popping game where you try to hit people with bombs, shells, and other items inside an arena. I don't usually play this mode, but it's nice for some variety. And this game has some of the best courses, as in Mario Kart 8 there's gimmicks where you drive on the walls, which made for some pretty cool levels. You have to play this game if you own a Switch. It's a perfect game to play with friends. For the people that have seen my old videos that I removed, you may be confused to see this game, as I mostly played mature games that didn't look like they were made for 6-year-olds like Yoshi's Crafted World. And I always said I didn't like games that didn't stand in a more mature setting, like the God of War series for example. But trust me when I say, Yoshi's Crafted World is actually pretty fun, and quite creative too. In this game, everything is made of cardboard, I think, and I'm like 90% sure everything's made of cardboard, but there's actually a ton of creative levels, like smash through things with a skeleton helmet. That's here. Getting chased by a dead dinosaur. You can also do that as well. Do you want to climb trees with monkeys? Well, that's also here. This game also takes place in pretty cool settings as well, like you can go to space, you can go to a place which I'm pretty sure it's like a culturistic place, but it has ninjas and other pretty cool enemies, and you can climb rooftops while you're there. Not only are the levels are cool, but so are the bosses. Well, they're kinda lame, as they are extremely easy, but oh well. But they're pretty creative, like this piranha plant here is massive and throws his babies at you, and eventually you'll have to hit him with a spiky ball. And the final boss is pretty cool too, but no spoilers. Another thing you can do in this game is unlock costumes. You can earn them from arcade machines and play basically anything you want. You can even get costumes of bosses after you beat them. But honestly, that's really all to say about this game, as it's pretty short and you can beat it in about 7 hours. But there is some replay value, as there are a couple hundred flowers to collect and red coins with a set of challenges to get them. In each level there will be a robot to find and you have to hit it with your eggs. The game is short, but it's also pretty fun, so I recommend you try it out. Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm not big on life simulation kind of games, but even for me, Animal Crossing New Horizons was still a very fun game. There are so many things to do in this game. You can go snorkeling to try to catch crabs and other sea creatures, fishing, obviously to catch fish, go bug catching, you can even dig up fossils. All these things make the game so much fun, and when you catch these critters, you can even donate them to the museum to make it look super cool. And trying to catch them all is actually extremely difficult, as some fish are extremely rare and can only be found at certain times of the year and day. It's definitely a long task. Something new in New Horizons is the ability to place objects outside of your house. I made a little park and hangout area, which is actually kinda cool. Another new thing is now, instead of just buying and finding things, You can build items like costumes or things for your house. To be able to build them, however, you have to chop down trees, get stones, pick weeds, and all sorts of other things. And there are also Nook points which can be redeemed to get limited items. To get the Nook points, there are missions to complete like planting a palm tree, playing a game with a citizen, giving out gifts, and more. This game just has so much to do and will likely last you a couple hundred hours. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Nintendo is the king of making a fighting game with all their IPs. So many companies tried to copy them. Nickelodeon did it, and even Sony did. So of course, Super Smash Bros. Was going to be on the list. It's the absolute best game to play with friends. You can have up to 12 people play at a time. And there are tons of stages and characters to play as. There's even DLC, so if there wasn't enough, you can get a character and a stage for $5. I don't have all of them, but there are some really good DLC, like the Piranha Plant in Banjo-Kazooie. And some fan favorite characters people never thought would be in the game are here, like Ridley and King K. Rool, just to name a few. And if you have no friends, don't worry, because is a single player mode that will last you up to 20 hours, with tons of bosses to fight. You can even make games that are saved, so you don't always have to change your settings from timed battles to stock, which is really nice because I hated having to do that every time I match in the older games. If you have some friends to play this with, it makes it one of the best Nintendo Switch games out there. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. A Zelda game was bound to be on this list at some point, and Link's Awakening is surprisingly a really awesome game. It was originally a Game Boy game, so when I first got it, I didn't really have a lot of hopes for it when it first released, so I kinda slept on it for a while and haven't tried it until 2 years after release. And for a remaster of a Game Boy game, there is a lot of stuff to do here. A full completion can even last up to 25 hours. And this game has some pretty dang good dungeons, and you can even make your own dungeons and share them with your friends. The bosses are pretty unique too. This boss, for example, will run away from you, and every time you hit him, he can heal up, and will fend you off with fire. In this Zelda game, you don't actually save Zelda this time around. You have to collect instruments to wake up a fish and an egg, which basically destroys the island you washed up on. And for some reason, Marin, the girl that finds you in the beginning of the game, knew that would happen, so she tries to create a relationship with you, and even tries to tell you that she loves you. But no more spoilers. The side quests in this game are pretty cool too. You can go fishing, you can help a goat catfish a scientist, you can play a crane game minigame to win figurines that you place around the village you wake up in. And you can also bring a ghost to her old destroyed home when you find her at her grave. There's just so much to do in this small little game. It's actually quite impressive. If you like short experiences that are actually quite compelling, this game is pretty perfect for you. Mario Party Superstars. If you haven't noticed, there are a lot of games on this list that are meant to play with friends, as most games I bought on my Switch were for playing with friends, and Mario Party Superstars is probably my favorite game I bought to play with my friends. There are 100 minigames to play here, and almost all of them are amazing games. While there aren't too many characters to play as, there's actually a ton of stuff to do here. Not only is there the base game where you can play on a board, but there's also a free roam mode. I guess that's what you call it. You'll have daily challenges to play, a coin attack mode where you try to collect as many coins as possible, and much more. But my favorite is the most basic mode ever. You just play a huge wave of minigames. If that wasn't enough to make you want to play the balls out of this game, well, there are also challenges to complete to earn rewards, like getting 7 stars in one game, for example. So if you just want a game to ruin friendships, then again, this game is perfect. Bowser's Fury. Okay, I know I said no Wii U ports, and Mario 3D World is a Wii U port, and that's what this game is part of, but for this game, I'm only including Bowser's Fury. I know it's just a side mode, but even for a side mode, this game can last you up to 15 hours. And it's just a side mode as well. It's so good that people even started comparing it to Mario Odyssey because it was so perfect. It's an open world game where you team up with Bowser Jr. Yeah, the baby that stole your girlfriend is now your partner. They team up because Bowser is now out of control and the size of the whole map. Well, kind of. But before I continue, there is one problem though. This game was a limited time release from February 2021 to March 2021. So if you want this game, you will have to pay a scalper's price. It's not that hard to find it for like $70, but you might have to. Anyways, back to the game. The main purpose is to wake the cat bell by finding cat shards. Yeah, if you don't like cats, sorry, but every enemy in this game is a cat. Even Mario. I mean, I hate cats, so I was disappointed as well, but it's still a great game. No spoilers, but the fights with Bowser are pretty cool. And there are pretty fun ways to get cat shards, like ride this weird dinosaur and complete races around the world. And you find these babies, cat babies from around the world. Again, with the fat dinosaur, you can catch bunnies that run on water. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. And if you complete this game 100%, Goku Mario, the thing that turns into the big cat bell, will be the suit for Mario now, when he's small. And Bowser Jr. turns into a furry for some reason. And actually, Bowser Jr. serves a purpose here. He has his paintbrush from Mario Sunshine and can actually paint out pictures for little secrets. And that's it. He isn't a huge help, but it is still kinda cool. Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Yeah, I know I said no ports, but technically this game isn't a port, as it hasn't been on any other Nintendo consoles. It's just a collection of Mario games that have been on other consoles. But they are HD remasters as well, so I think it counts. But wait, there is another problem. Like Bowser's Fury, this game was a limited time release to March 2021. So if you didn't buy the game when it was available like I did, you will have to pay a scalper's price. But it is kinda easy to find it for about $70, so it's not too bad. Also, I won't talk about these games too much, as I plan on doing a top 10 on the consoles about the games that these games came out on. And these Mario games are, in my opinion, some of the best the whole series has ever seen. Mario 64, the first 3D Mario game ever released, has some of the funnest level ever, with some pretty fun bosses, with up to 120 stars to collect. Super Mario Sunshine, one of the most creative Mario games, as you have a flood pack to spray down paint and use it to stay in the air for a while, and can even blast across water. And it's beach themed, which is my favorite themes in any video game ever. And the music is pretty dang good here, and has some pretty creative bosses and levels. Super Mario Galaxy, arguably one of the best Mario games ever released. It has creative power-ups, like turning into a bee. Has some pretty creative levels too, as you are technically in space, so it uses gravity. And has one of the best hub worlds Mario has ever seen. Yeah, I know that was a pretty brief explanation of each Mario game, but don't worry, I will do a top 10 on these games' original consoles. I will talk about them much more. And the games are pretty long too, so this game should last a while. And for some reason, in the main menu, there are lists of the game's music that you can sit and listen to, which is weird, as I don't see people going on runs with their Switches just to listen to the game's music. But if Nintendo wanted them to, they should just put their music on Spotify. But now, I think it's time to look at the top 2 greatest games on the Switch. Super Mario Odyssey. This shouldn't surprise you. The best Mario game ever released had to be on this list. And it's also the most creative, as it introduced Cappy, the main thing Mario uses to traverse through the game. You can use Cappy for basically anything in this game. You can make cool jumps with it, but obviously you can also turn into other enemies and abuse your powers to do cool things. Like in the Snow Kingdom, you can use him to turn into a fat snow guy thingy and attend races with it, or you can turn into a Goomba to stack them and reach usually unreachable places. In each kingdom in this game are things we have never seen in a Mario game. Instead of just a basic biome, they each have cool gimmicks, like the jungle is inhabited by robots, so it's basically a huge factory, and the enemies here are onions for some reason. And the beach theme here isn't too crazy, but it's really relaxing. You can play volleyball here and just sit down at the resort, and water levels usually suck, but because you have Cappy, you can turn into a fish and just swim around. And obviously, I have to talk about the Metro Kingdom, the best kingdom in the whole game. Instead of just snails here or robots, you have normal humans. It's basically New York City here. And you can just jump across the buildings and even ride scooters here. And the best part is playing with the dog at the park, who will catch your hat when you throw it. And the bosses here are really cool too. You can fight a weird caterpillar robot as a tank, and fight some weird ice thing and beat him up with his own hands, and much more. And the biggest, best thing you can do in this game is you can wear outfits. Mario used to just wear his overalls, but now you can be anything you want. A caveman, a king, a monkey, a cowboy, and so much more. But if the base game isn't enough, there's also a side game with Luigi in a balloon world where you play with people all around the world, will hide balloons, and you have to find it and pop it before the time runs out. And you can even hide your own. There's just so much to do here. I can't name everything. Just take my word and say this game is incredible. But there is one that is far better. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is very unsurprising for all of you, I'm sure of that. This game is phenomenal in every way. I'm sure you all know why it's so good, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I still will a little bit. This game is so massive with so many things to do, it's crazy. It's all open world and not linear, which is perfect. With 120 shrines to complete if you have DLC, and 999 Korok seeds to find, this game will keep you busy for up to 200 hours. But it's not just collectibles or challenges like the shrines. There are also normal side quests like in Gerudo Village. If you help every citizen, you get a special helmet that prevents lightning strikes from damaging you. Oh yeah, and there's tons of armor sets to get, each having a special ability, like the Zora armor allows you to blast up waterfalls. And this weird armor set stops you from getting lit on fire in with the town of the Gorons. And if you kill hundreds of enemies, you can sell their parts to get a mask with their face on it to blend in their camp so they won't attack you. And the quality of life in this game is pretty impressive too. You can go hunting, collect fruits, and other things around the world to cook food, and do some other stuff. You can even build your own house to display your items. And if you have DLC, you can get a picture from a new dungeon to hang on your wall. You can also tame a horse to ride around, but I'm sure you've all played this game before, so I'm going to just leave it at that. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, I highly recommend it. And Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, its sequel, comes out this year, so if it's a perfect time to play this game. And with that, there's my list. If you would change any game on this list, let me know in the comments below. And also, I have some announcements, well, kinda, it's more or less confusion for my old subscribers. As you know, I had like 50 older videos of me playing through games, but they've been removed. And that's because that's not the kind of content I want to make. And they were pretty cringy, and I said things in that video that probably could have got me in trouble, I don't really know. So it's probably best if I got rid of those videos. And as you know, I played through a bunch of PlayStation games, so why am I not making those kind of videos? Well, don't worry, I may in the future, but mostly this channel is going to focus on Nintendo kind of content. But yeah, and I have a lot of videos planned for the future. In fact, I'm actually working on one right now as of me making this outro. I have so many ideas, and honestly, doing this YouTube thing, despite me having like 26 subscribers, and not making any money, this is just so much fun for me. And I really hope to, you know, make a living off this in the future and make videos for you guys constantly without having to worry about college and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys, and if you liked the video, comment, like, and subscribe, because I'm having a lot more stuff like this in the future. So yeah, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.